set up?
It should just be uploaded. Like a part of your Zoom account is like you can upload stuff to the Zoom cloud, and then you can just download the video and send it to us.
Hopefully I understand how to do this.
If
Okay,
not,
recording.
yeah. If not, just FaceTime me and I can walk you through it.
Okay. Wait, you should like, your head is cut off.
Ow, now, brown.
Yeah, just do that. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
So, as Andrew Carnegie once said, about 15% of one's financial success is due to one's technical knowledge, and about 85% is due to their skill in human engineering, the personality, and their ability to lead people. In this workshop, our goal today is to teach you how to better communicate with others around you verbally, non-verbally, and digitally. Now, as communication students, this is what we do on a daily basis, and we can also provide firsthand experience of college communication throughout our time at UNO. Taking knowledge we've gained from classes, as well as scholarly articles that we've researched, we now know that we can provide the best information for you to have a successful college experience when the time comes. Now, as soon-to-be college student yourselves, communication with professors and other professionals heightens your professionalism in the classroom and with your peers as well. Good first impression with a lot of those students and with a lot of those professors can get you that extra step ahead that you need. We want you to be set up for your success in your new season of life, therefore giving you the tools to succeed throughout your 4 years or however long it takes you to get through college. Now, as I stated before, today, Hannah, you, and I will go through the 3 of the most important communication channels: verbal, nonverbal, and digital.
Okay, first let's discuss the importance of verbal communication in college. If you want to improve your own presentation, you must learn to choose your word, avoiding speaking positively, avoid modify or overuse boring word. Like if you want to mean that a little, you can use a bit, slightly, such as he is slightly better today, she's a bit older than me, and study hard can master relevant knowledge. Eloquence is not enough. Excellent oral expression ability is actually determined by a variety of internal quality. What do you need to do is to calm your head first, whether it's in email or speaking. Clear language can better reflect your ability. Secondly, you should study theory, knowledge, and experience so that you can communicate with anyone better. Study hard and master the corresponding skill and technical. According to How to Develop Effective Verbal Communication Skill, written by Don Brand. Practice by talking to friends and family. You don't even need to practice speaking, selling, or interviewing questions. Talk to your friend as usual, with a little different. Pay attention to the hesitant word you use, such as like, okay, and how often you use them. Actively participate in various activities that you can enhance oral expression ability, such as lecture, debate, cinema, street propaganda, information consultation, and other activities. We should talk more and practice more. What the teacher says in class or what he has learned in the book will come out in his own word as much as possible, which will also help to improve his oral expression ability. To exercise oral expression ability, we should have the spirit of hard work and perseverance. As long as we are diligent in learning, broad in practice, good at summarizing and improving in time, our own expression ability will certainly be improved. The second subpoint, oral expression mainly use language to influence the listener. The quality of oral rhetoric directly affects the audience mood. Be sure to put some effort into oral rhetoric. A good spoken English requires a coherent content and a logical language. For example, when you describe a thing, you should not insert irrelevant content. The second is to avoid using complete sentence, which will make it easier for people to check with you. Moreover, correct posture and appearance are the main way of successful oral expression. So when you talk to others, you should behave properly, just natty, and be polite. Because appearance is the first impression the speaker gives to the audience. For the earning question, do you use a lot of modify when you are talking to your friends or teacher? If so, what modify do you use usually? Then let's move to the nonverbal communication.
Now, as you said, with verbal communication is the most well-known communication medium, there is an even more prevalent form that everyone can master, nonverbal communication. Now, nonverbal communication is a simple concept, but a complex medium to manage, master, and explain. Defined as aspects of communication that are not expressed verbally, examples can range from eye contact and body posture to hand gestures and facial movements. Now, nonverbal communication may fly under the radar to the inexperienced eye, but you may be surprised how much your nonverbals are being noticed on a day-to-day basis. According to a study done at the University of California, Los Angeles, communication is 7% verbal, 38% vocal, and 55% facial expressions and body language. So now that we know what nonverbal communication is and why it's important, I'm going to offer some tips on how you guys can control and properly express your nonverbal communication skills. Now, first, I want to start with your presentation. Now, your appearance is the first and arguably the most important step in nonverbal communication. Looking well kept and put together goes a long way in establishing credibility and making a good first impression. You don't need to show up in a tailored suit or a fancy dress to make a good first impression. At the end of the day, it's not about looking the best. It's about looking your best. And as long as an effort is made to look presentable and look your best, as long as that effort is put forward and that effort is noticeable, that can go a long way in making that good first impression that you're after. Now, the next bit of nonverbal communication is your body language. The backbone of body language is your posture. Yeah, I know, dad jokes, but I had to throw one in there. Sorry about that, guys. According to nosweatpublicspeaking.com, a website entirely devoted to the practice and the study of public speaking, proper posture, such as leaning slightly forward, indicates interest and attentiveness. Slouching down in your chair does the opposite and gives off an uninterested attitude and demeanor, like so. Another essence of posture and body language is your shoulder position. Hunched shoulders conveys a message of timidness, maybe even low self-esteem. Even doing as much as just keeping your shoulders nice and tall can give you that slight confidence boost you need to really excel in the classroom and elsewhere in your college experience. Now, another important nonverbal trait that you need to be aware of is your facial expressions. An article posted on the National Center for Biotechnology Information's website, written by psychologist Chris Frith, states that social interactions depend on complex signals in many modalities. For human interactions, however, spoken language plays such an important role that we often forget about the importance of nonverbal signals. Among these nonverbal signals, facial expressions have a major part in your social interactions. Facial expressions can be beneficial, such as when your friend is nervously preparing for a class presentation. One quick expression of confidence, such as a smile or a wink, can be exactly the kind of support they need. Now, moreover, when you yourself are giving a presentation or a speech, facial expressions can help you get your message across in a more impactful way. If you seem animated and passionate about your subject, your audience will be much more receptive to your message. Now, in terms of facial expressions in interpersonal communication on a day-to-day basis, I found a really fascinating quote by Speak Easy Inc. on their piece on facial expressions. Knowing that your facial expressions can communicate is one thing, but learning to use them to your advantage is another. Look for emotion on the faces of others. Learn to recognize what their expressions communicate to you, and then practice coupling those expressions with the words and emotions that you yourself want to convey. Now, I want you guys to pause the video here in a couple of minutes and just discuss amongst yourselves, what do you think is one nonverbal technique you do well, and which one do you think needs the most improvement? Look around at your classmates throughout the day, throughout your week, throughout any classes that you're in, and see what kind of nonverbal communication they are portraying or that they portray in your experience with them. And I want you guys to discuss that right now, if you've noticed any at all. So go ahead, pause the video. I'll give you a few minutes.
Okay, so now the boys have discussed both verbal and nonverbal communication. I'm going to come in and talk about digital communication as well. So ever since 1971, when Ray Tomlinson invented the email communication, it has been a convenient way and a quick way to communicate, according to The Guardian. So although it might be easy to open your email, click a new email, and type out a couple sentences, it goes a lot more into emails than what you think. So when entering the professional world, emails are truly the best way to communicate and therefore are used every single day. So knowing how to write this professional email is really, really important. So to start off, the title of the email is important when communicating with professors and especially potential employers. The most important thing when writing a subject line is to make sure the message stands out enough for the person to open the email immediately and respond right away, according to a 2020 Business Insider article. So a couple tips include keeping the title short and concise. You would want to get straight to the point so that the recipient knows what they're going to read in a way that is summarized and not just a whole sentence. On the other hand, I wouldn't recommend starting a sentence in the subject line and completing it in the actual body of the email. Also, never type in capital letters if it isn't something urgent. Instead, just simply say reply soon, followed by 2 or 3 words that tell the recipient what you want to talk about. And the next thing someone receiving an email looks at is the way it's addressed and concluded. So there's a difference between informal and formal emails, but for the purposes of today and today's talk, we'll talk about formal emails because you're almost always going to be using formal addresses for professors and employers. So to write to someone who you don't know their name, it's proper to use the phrase "to whom it may concern." If you do happen to know the name or the last name of the person, writing "Dear Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so" would be the most appropriate, according to an article published by Menlo College. So in terms of conclusions, the best closing statements followed by your name are "best regards, thank you, sincerely, and yours." It's quite helpful to have an automatic email closer that just states your email, job position, and phone number just in case they need to call you. The final thing that is necessary as we write an email is proper grammar and just overall voice. To start off with the don'ts, never use slang or incomplete sentences. This doesn't show good professionalism and can weaken your credibility, according to that same Menlo College article. Another thing to make sure of is to use complete thoughts. Think about what you want to say, how you want to say it, and then actually write it. And if you still mess up there, proofreading at the end will always help, according to a 2020 Indeed article. So I just want you to take a couple minutes now and just think about the way you address an email. How have you been writing? Is it professional? Like, would you consider writing this to an employer? How can you switch your addressing of an email or the body of your email? So another very important digital communication platform that's only been really pertinent in the last few decades or so is social media. So although it's been around since the 1970s, it's only recently become more than just a creative outlet, according to Matthew Jones in a 2015 History Cooperative article. So not to scare you or anything, but according to another study reported by Cobra Banks, it says, according to Career Builders Insight, 70% of employers are snooping candidates' social media profiles. The first thing to look at when going on a social media profile of the person is the actual profile of the person. So the Cobra Banks article written by Mark Wilkinson recommends using profile pictures that show you smiling and preferably against a blank background. So when employers are researching your social media profiles, you'll want to show who you actually are and not just other interests that you have. The article also recommends stating relevant organizations you're part of in your biographies, such as your teams you're interested in or a company you volunteer for. It'll show engagement in hobbies and involvement in the community, both really, really good things to show off to potential employers. So now I just want you to take 2 minutes to pause this video and discuss the following question. What are some interesting hobbies you have that you could enhance your social media profile? Think about things that employers would really like to see, things that might really engage them to want to click on you and potentially hire you. So another thing employers look at are the posts and captions that go along with these posts. One thing Elizabeth Rock suggests is when it comes to posts and captions in an Association of Certified Professionals Accountants article is to post about things you're passionate about. That way, employers can learn about a different side of you while also being convinced that work is not just everything for you, and you like to have some fun. Another tip would be to double check your captions. Make sure their appropriate language is used and have correct grammar. There's nothing that looks more unprofessional than a misspelled word in an Instagram post. Now I just challenge you in general to look at your social media accounts, make sure they're appropriate, and there's something that your grandma would want to see. It's always a good rule of thumb, and it'll help in the professional world.
So today we let you know that communicating in college and beyond is very important, especially verbal, nonverbal, and digital. We hope that through this workshop, you will be better equipped to communicate professionally in college and beyond. Take time to think about your own communication skill. Do you think you know how to write a professional email? We will be able to communicate properly with your professor. Communication is one of the most important aspects of daily life. both personally and professionally. A functioning knowledge of how to communicate with those around you not only make your life easier, it make the world a better place. This is our presentation. Thanks.
Do you want to?
Did anybody have